Hey, what's up, guys? So today I just wanted to talk about the best ways to clean, set up, and you know, just maintain your guitars. Um, I find that I have to do a lot of these things whenever I get a new used guitar. Generally, guitars are pretty hard to mess up. They're pretty durable, pretty sturdy. So as long as there's not too many finish flaws, they're usually in pretty good shape that way. I don't think I've ever gotten any guitars that have really been just like beat to hell. But I find they're always really dirty, just with dirt and grime and sweat and whatever. And there's usually some corrosion in the bridge and around. Where any screws would be, either pickup screws or pick guard screws, sometimes even around the switch, maybe even the pots. Just wanted to kind of show you how to get that stuff taken care of. Now this is a Jackson Adrian Smith SDX Dinky. Recently just got this in a trade. Somebody done some major upgrades to this thing. This is an original Floyd. Somebody put that on there. It's got a D-Tuna that I don't use because I don't do drop D very much. Put a DiMarzio Super Distortion and a Fast Track 1 in the neck, Super Distortion in the bridge, and new switch. It would originally have a 5-way switch. This is a 3-way switch. The pick guard is custom. They moved the pot down here. It's a shiny pick guard. I think the other one's a matte black pick guard, but I'm not certain on that. They put new Gotoh tuners on. Probably can't see, but they're Gotoh. And there's a brass block in the trim. So somebody spent a ton of money on this guitar. And then I guess he had to sell it. The guy he sold it to thought he was like, I'm going to try a Floyd Rose. Wasn't really a Floyd Rose guy. So he traded me. I had a guitar, that a Jackson Randy Rhoads Silver Burst that was just string through body. I was using it to play out. I was always reaching for the Floyd Rose, wanted something with a Floyd. Always liked these. The fact that this one was super upgraded and the guy was going to trade me, even for it, I think I made out in the deal. But he's happy. I talked to him recently. He's happy with his guitar. So if he's happy, I'm happy with this. He's happy. Everybody wins. But anyway, this was really dirty when I first got it. I'm going to explain to you what I did to it. First things first, you pull off all the strings. Best way to set anything up, start anything new, is start fresh strings. Old strings, it's hard to intonate old strings, it's hard to tune old strings. Pull off all the strings. Don't be afraid to pull off all the strings with a Floyd Rose. I know people will say, oh, do it one at a time. You don't have to. Stick a battery back there, a 9-volt battery, just an old crappy one that I pulled out of something. Stick it back there. And hold the strings just to hold the bridge in place so that it remains level like that. And you pull all the strings off. So once you have all the strings off, I'd leave the whammy bar on just because I like to use it for when I restring. It helps to be able to move the bridge up and down. So pull all the strings off first. Then you need to clean the guitar. I usually give it a quick wipe down. This is my dirty wipe down cloth. You can see it's been through the wash. It's got crap all over it. This has actually been washed recently. Looks pretty nasty though. So just give it a kind of a wipe down to get whatever loose dirt you can off of it. You can then even kind of use the same cloth, and I like to use the Dunlop Formula 65 guitar polish and cleaner. This will be the first time. Just apply a light coat, just a light little bit, just to get the rag a little bit wet, wipe all the dirt off, all the smudges, try to get everything as clean as possible. Try to wipe off the fretboard, the fingerboard, and the headstock around the tuners. Once you have the strings off, it's pretty easy to do. Just get everything shined up nice as best as you can with this. So that's step one. With this guitar, like I said, there was a lot of corrosion and stuff around the bridge and around the strings and stuff. So what I recommend using is a 3-in-1 oil or gun oil. A lot of people use this to clean guns or clean, whatever. You can clean locks, tools, bicycles, whatever you need. But it lubricates, penetrates rust, and cleans. So basically what I did was put a few drips here into the Floyd Rose, got a old toothbrush that I use to get crap out. Scrub the crap out of it. Now the Floyd looks new. It was looking rusty and grimy and not new, but now it looks brand new. It always helps to have a few extra pickguard screws around. You can get them $2-3 on Amazon, and they'll ship for free. So I like to replace rusty screws with new screws, which I did on this. You can't tell, which is kind of the idea. So got some new screws in there. You know, easy enough to just pull out the old ones, screw in the new ones. And then after that, because it had been put away dirty, and generally guys who are very corrosive when they sweat, their sweat's kind of sticky and gunky. Back of the neck was gunky. It wasn't something I was wiping off easily with like a paper towel or anything. So decided to pull out a Brillo pad. This is an O-grade steel wool pad. It's really just for sanding and smoothing. Just kind of smoothing everything out. It's, like I said, O-grade steel wool Brillo pad. Wipe it down the back of the neck. It'll kind of give you that nice satiny feel. Maybe take some of the excess lacquer off, make it a little less sticky. Kind of give it that nice smooth like satin feel. Back of the neck. So I really like that. Also, what it'll do if you wrap around enough and you don't have strings on the guitar, is you kind of like, if there's any sharp edges on the frets or on the fretboard or anything, you'll kind of smooth that over and just kind of round everything real nice, so that everything's got a nice smooth feel to it. You can see I did it on this. There's really no scratches or anything like that. It's just a nice even finish, and it gets all the gunk off. So do that, get all the gunk off, and then when you're done with that, I usually kind of like to wipe everything down again. With this, and I'm sure you see this a lot with guys who are super corrosive, these frets were green, not shiny. They're very shiny now, if you can tell, super shiny. But these frets were green, and they needed cleaned and polished really, really badly. So, again, I like to take some O-grade steel wool, and you can put tape between every fret if you'd like, and that'll keep everything keep it from scratching your guitars. I'm pretty good with this. I don't usually rub onto the fretboard. Probably can't see, but my fretboard doesn't have any scrapes or scratches in it. I do this a lot. But if you want to put like masking tape to mask off the frets so you don't scratch them, steel wool on either side of the on the frets, just to polish them up, get all the green off, make them look real nice. They shine now. Another cool thing to do with the steel wool is to kind of like sort of reinforce the crown. I'll say it's not. I didn't level and crown these frets, and some of these I think I have one low fret here, which is, you know, pretty common. I think this guitar's been around a couple years, but I'm gonna use it for playing out. I'm not necessarily the guy who gets all uppity about one fret being low or anything, or frets need a re-level and repolish, and because that takes a long time. But what you can do is kind of reinforce the crown. Go one way and then go the other way to kind of try and shape what you can with it. I find that if I do that every time I polish the frets, they don't need leveled and crowned. They certainly don't need crowned that often, because it'll kind of maintain the crown a little bit better. But these frets were in pretty good shape. They were a little flat on top, but doing that, kind of maintaining the crown, sort of rounded them off just a little bit, and they fret really nice now. So no problems there. So the next thing you're going to need to do if you're cleaning is not so much on a maple board. You can just kind of use whatever to clean the maple board up, but I like to use this is F1 oil. This is fretboard conditioner oil. A lot of people say use gun oil, use 3-in-1 oil, use lemon oil. That all seems kind of gunky to me. I prefer to use the stuff that's made for guitar fingerboards. I mean, this isn't expensive either. I think this is $3 or $4 at Guitar Center or whatever. You can probably get it cheaper online, and you know, any of them will do. I think Dunlop makes one. I think I know Gibson makes one, and any of them will do. Really more for non-maple necks. Maple is kind of easy to wipe off, but for like rosewood fingerboards or ebony fingerboards, this is really like, it's night and day difference. And if they're real gunky, you know, I may take some steel wool to them to get all the extra gunk off, or I don't know where my toothbrush went. Or, I don't know where my toothbrush went, but hit them with that toothbrush and really just scrub away. That'll get all the gunk out of the fingerboard, or get all the gunk out of your frets and everything. Toothbrush actually is really good for getting like the gunk out of the sides of your frets, especially if you're going to get a used guitar. They're pretty, frets usually get a lot of gunk build up in them, because most guys don't just clean them out like that. So once you've conditioned your fretboard, let the oil stay for about a minute, minute and a half, and then wipe off the excess. It'll keep the fretboard looking nice and clean, like that. And then what you're going to want to do, and what I always like to do, especially with guitars that are used but are new to me, is I like to give them a nice body gloss with the cream of carnauba, the carnauba wax. This is the Dunlop stuff too, and this stuff comes in a 2-pack, so you can get them like that. It comes with a rag too if you get them in the 2-pack, and I mean it's super nice. You get it on there, and then when I take it off, so it's wax on. When I take it off, I like to also use the polish when I take it off. Just kind of wet the rag a little bit with the polish, just maybe one spray, and that'll kind of give it a nice glossy, shiny. It'll be all mirror-like. It looks really good. So then you've got it. Now you've got everything, and everything's clean. So the next thing I like to do is kind of check and make sure everything's tight. There was this screw was loose down here. The pot was a little bit loose. Pulled that up. You can pull these pots off. Some of them, this one doesn't have. It has to kind of be popped off, which was tough. You can pop the pot off, or not the pot. You could pop off the knob. There we go. Sorry. And you kind of tighten the pot. You get a little like wrench. Tighten the pot, and kind of tighten down all the screws. Make sure switches aren't moving around. Especially in guitars with pickguards, I always find that stuff like screws and pickguards tend to loosen over time. So just kind of screw them back down. Make sure everything's nice and tight, so nothing's rattling. And then adjust your pickup height, and you're good to go. So the other thing you're going to need, and that I would heavily recommend, and I just saw it, where the hell did it go? And it's gone. Is a string winder. This is my Planet Wave string winder. I bought it a few years ago. Got a little winder on it, and it's got the nice little tool to snip the string. As you can see, I don't have ugly strings hanging off everywhere. So tune up your guitar, wind everything up so that the strings are taut, and snip the strings. Then go ahead and remove the battery, tune everything up. Not going to go over how to set up a Floyd Rose on this video. There's 100,000 videos on YouTube how to set up a Floyd Rose. You know, then you know, once I've got all the strings on and I've got everything in tune, I like to again take my clean rag, maybe hit it with a spritz of the 65 Dunlop polish, and this is just a car rag, something you could buy in the car automotive section at Target or wherever. Just kind of wipe everything down and give it a nice final shine, and then I like to just kind of hang it on the wall and let it sit there, and I stare at it because of how beautiful and brand new it looks. When maybe an hour and a half ago it was covered in gunk and had rusty frets and all that, but now, as you can see, other than some of the scratches on the pickguard, it looks brand new. So anyway, guys, that's the best way to keep your guitars looking new, looking clean. Remember, take care of your instruments and they will take care of you. Rock on.